We're live at the same time for the first time ever. I'm gonna bring this up a little bit so that it feels like we're looking at the same place.
Okay.
Why is yours so dark? It's always so dark.
I don't know why it's so dark.
Maybe it's just the brightness of your phone.
Maybe that's what I'm checking.
Because I know it doesn't look like that on YouTube. Hey fam, checking in.
What's up, everybody?
My Instagram, the Keto Bikini Pro, or Coach Bronson's YouTube.
Here,
At
drop
Coach
this down
Bronson.
a little bit. Hey, everybody. All right, so why isn't this? Wow! There we go. It was stuck. Okay. Oh, we got people in here already. Let's see.
We got the chat
Deb's
started.
in here. What's up, Becky? Has all the snow out there melted yet? Oh, they're talking about weather and stuff.
Yeah, we got Becky's in Arizona and
They got snow?
Deb's in.
Oh, no.
Deb in
got snow.
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire got snow?
Oh yeah, they've been in it.
In April?
They had a big snowstorm it was like a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know. All right. What's up, everybody? What are we doing today?
What up, fam?
We got back so last week we were in Arizona.
Yep, I just posted a recap reel on my Instagram yesterday. So if you didn't see that, that's got some of the highlights from our trip. Mm-hmm. We got to spend some quality time with Maria Emmerich and Suzanne from Equip.
Yes.
That's her last name.
Suzanne from Equip. That's her full name is Suzanne from Equip. Yeah.
And we got to meet some really cool new people.
Yep. Carrie and Brian. They hosted the event.
At Camp Tidbits.
Shout out.
Awesome people.
I think the biggest thing for me out of that trip, outside of spending the day with you,
We also got to hike.
was
Y'all caught our live
dinner.
last week. We were out in the mountains doing our live.
Yep.
Really quick one. But dinner, yes, let's talk about that.
So we talked a little bit while we were camping in the video from last week about community and networking and getting hiking. I said camping. Hiking.
I've never gone camping.
We never probably
ever.
because she's too bougie for camping. Real camping.
We could do glamping.
No, I can't stand glamping. So I'm
So
a
we'll
camper.
never go-
If I'm
we
going
will
to
never
camp,
go
I'm sleeping
camping.
on the ground. I'm pooping in a hole. All that kind of stuff. That's camping.
That ain't happening over here. Nope.
What was I saying? Oh,
Dinner.
we were talking yesterday about last weekend.
Yep.
And how we started the conversation yesterday about how we wake up in the morning and we spend our day. Wow, your hair looks really good.
Sometimes I do the little flip-a-do and he
You do
loses
something
his
like
mind.
whatever, yeah. And if you guys could hear our regular daily conversations,
This is why we used to have a podcast. Because we wanted to let
that's why
you
we
in.
do this now. Because
Yes.
right,
To let you in on the things that we chat about.
this is the things that we talk about on these coffee talks, guys. Literally, I don't know if you understand. This is our normal daily conversation.
Yep.
This is the stuff we talk about. And it was really cool because we don't often get a chance to have these kinds of conversations with other people. So we went to dinner, a fantastic steakhouse. If you're ever in Phoenix, Steak 44, that's the name of it, right?
Yep.
Steak 44, go check it out. It's the first time that I can remember in the last several years that I have eaten a steak and not had to put salt on it.
This man, not putting salt on his steak, I could not believe it.
It was fantastic.
And
It was
Maria said,
awesome.
and y'all, if y'all know Maria, she has been all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
She has eaten steak all over the world. And she told her,
Yeah.
I don't even want to call him a server because this man was like a
Oh my God. Yeah.
sommelier. He makes his own wine. He's like a connoisseur of all food and beverage. He was incredible.
Yeah.
She said to him, I have eaten steak all over the world. This has been the best steak I've ever had in my life. That's saying a lot.
It was a really good steak.
It was incredible. Yeah.
So if you're ever in the mood for steak and you're in Phoenix, go to Steak 44. Shout out to them. I should probably tag them. I don't know how to tag in YouTube. They probably don't have a YouTube channel, but
Yeah,
whatever.
probably not.
Anywho,
I can tell
the
you. Yeah.
conversation was awesome. Maria, Carrie, Brian, Suzanne from Equip, all of us just talking about our experiences, talking about mindset, talking about the different ideas of nutrition and our experiences in healing and trauma. And we got into so
We
many
went
different
deep.
things
Yeah.
over dinner. It was so enlightening and insightful, and I can't even think of all the words, but to be able to have those kinds of conversations, there's a phrase that I'm reminded of that I think about it almost every day. In a way, it's kind of my Roman Empire thing, right? Because I see it on social media all the time. And I'm confronted with, do I want to unfollow this person? Why am I following this person with this? Because, and I'm trying to remember exactly the saying, small minds talk about
Discuss people.
people, average minds talk about events,
Great
minds talk about ideas.
Yeah.
Something to that effect.
Yeah.
And I see all the time on social media. And again, why am I following this person? Because it's always about the drama in their life. It's always about, so-and-so or this, or arguing with that person, or I think this person's an idiot, or this person's treating me bad, or these are the things that are going on in my life. And that is the scope and the breadth of their mind, what they're thinking about, the things that they put their energy into.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to be around people who are thinking about, how can I impact the world?
Expansive thoughts.
Expansive thought.
Yes.
How can I help other people? What's the legacy that I'm going to leave behind when I'm gone?
Yeah.
Those types of
learning,
things. And that's being around people and learning, and not always being the smartest person in the room.
I love being with people who think on another level, because there's a new concept that's introduced. There's a new idea that's introduced. There's knowledge to be gained. There's expansion to be had, right? We love that. And there's nothing, I think that was one of the things with us, that it was like, this is so different than anything we've had before.
Yeah.
Because we can do that and just play off each other, and then it just goes and it goes. And then we get interested in things. One of us might say something to the other that plants a new seed. Well, that happens all the time. Plants a new seed, and then, oh, I need to go research that. Now I want to learn more about that. And then we come back and discuss that. And it's just, I don't even know how to express the difference between that and what did you do last night? And what's the weather doing this week? And what's your TV show that you're watching right now? Like, that's the conversation that most people are having. It's what are you already seeing in your life all the time that's around you? That doesn't create anything new in your life.
Yeah, if you're not being exposed to people or situations that are making you think about why you believe or think a certain way, then you are not growing, number one. Number two, how do you know why you believe what you believe in the first place if you never have to question it?
Oh, that's a rabbit hole we could go down easily.
Right? What's the saying? If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a huge piece of, we get back to the why, right? Why do you believe the things that you believe? What is the evidence? This is our conversation this morning. What is the evidence that you can point to? And I'm not talking about RCTs and meta-analysis.
The what?
Evidence. Random controlled trials. Randomized controlled trials.
What are you talking about?
I'm not talking about evidence as in the scientific papers. I'm talking about the evidence in your life that you can point to. I did this. This is what happened. I believe this. That has made me do this, and this was the result. If you don't have that, if you can't go back to anything that's concrete that says, here's why I believe what I believe, and here's the proof of that, then you need to question it. And being around people, she makes me question stuff all the time. I'll be like, hey, what about this? And she'll be like, you're an idiot.
No, I don't say that.
No, you don't say that.
I never say that.
But sometimes, honestly, here's real talk, guys. That's how you feel sometimes. That you're an idiot. And that's okay. Right? When I say something and you're like, well, what about this? What about that? And I'll be like, oh yeah, that seems kind of obvious. Why was I thinking that in the first place, right? Whatever it is, right? It's kind of like that acceptance of I was wrong in my belief. I was wrong in that thought process. That thought process didn't make process didn't make
You
sense.
have to be challenged
when you walk it through
in the way that you're thinking, or else you'll never.
And so many people resist.
Well, that's the thing is,
that,
right? We
right.
want to feel like we're right all the time. We want to feel like we know everything, and that's very. It's easy to get comfortable in what you believe, and
that's why we surround ourselves with people who believe the same thing.
And even when it comes to what we do for a living, health, fitness, nutrition, like we are constantly wanting to learn new things and not just rest on our laurels, right? We're not dogmatic. It's not carnivore healed me. Carnivore is the thing. Everyone should be carnivore. That's where it ends. It's okay, but then there's nuance to things. Mm-hmm. And there's new evidence coming out all the time from the scientific literature, right? We don't have answers to everything.
Right.
So there's always going to be something new you can learn, basically.
Something new you can learn. Challenge yourself by exposing yourself and to new information. Challenge yourself by, I don't even know. Now it's her doing it, not me.
So you got to keep
What was
them
I
on their
saying?
toes.
I have no idea.
I got you this time. He does that to me all the time. I cannot follow.
Where was I?
It's okay. We should get into the topic today.
That wasn't the topic.
No. And I keep staring at your glasses because you have eyelashes in there.
I have eyelashes in my glasses?
One on each side.
Really? Yeah. Okay, well, you introduce the topic.
We wanted to talk about fitness today because we always go down these mindset rabbit holes, and I know y'all like that, but
it
feels like we already went
though?
into something deep, and I kind of want to like pull it back and say, okay,
let's have some fun.
Yeah. Let's do some practical tips.
Stuff.
We wanted to talk about practical tips for adapting your workouts. And the way that plays into what we were just talking about, that confidence you get when you have evidence that you're capable of doing something, there is nothing more powerful than that in your journey. So how does that relate? I talk to women all the time who are afraid to go into the gym.
Because they don't know what to do.
They don't know what to do. They don't know how to use the machines. What if somebody's using what I need and I don't know how to, now I can't do that workout. I can't do that exercise. So,
or,
now what do I do?
What if my gym doesn't have that machine?
Right.
Or I'm working from home and you've got this thing, I don't have that, like all those types of things.
Yeah. So we want to talk a little bit about that. If there are, exercises you're trying to do, how do you understand the exercise, know what you're trying to accomplish with the exercise so that when you understand, when it's not just tell me what to do and I'll do it, which is what we're totally against, right? Mm-hmm. We're both.
There's another rabbit hole.
Always against this whole concept of, I just need a plan. I just need a meal plan. I just need a workout. And then I'll be able to just accomplish my goals. Well, that's clearly not the thing because you can always get a meal plan or workout or macros online for free and you're not doing it. So why are you not doing it? So this gets more to the root cause. When you understand what you're trying to accomplish, then you can think critically about how do I do this, even if I don't have a plan in front of me, or if I can't follow the plan on the paper because of XYZ. I can always adapt. We were just talking about adaptability the other day, right?
Yes. And here's an example. I'll give you guys an example. And you're going to say, oh, well, you've been coaching for 12 years. You got all this training experience. Sure, that plays a part. But what does that mean? That means I've taken the time to learn how my body works, to understand what the exercises I'm doing are intended to accomplish, and how to make the changes I need to when I'm doing my workouts. So right now, I am not following any specific workout plan. Okay? Right?
How do you know what to do?
How do I know what to do? My workout routine consists of showing up. That's my goal. The only goal that I have right now is show up at the gym and do something on a consistent basis. That's my plan. I go in knowing I'm tracking. This is a piece of it. Track what you do so you know where you're at. Okay. I write in what I did the other day. I write in what I did yesterday. I write in what I did the day before. I'm tracking everything I do every day. So I can look and say, okay, I'm going in today. What have I done over the last few days? What may be missing that I haven't hit? Knowing where I want to be from a broad range of the things that I want to do.
What's your goal?
What's my goal? I want to be functional. I want to get all the main movements. I want to lift some heavy stuff. I want to build my endurance. I want to do a little cardio. I want to do a little high intensity, all those types of things. So my understanding of what my goal is, my understanding of what fitness requirements are to meet those goals allows me to adapt my workouts on the fly every day I go to the gym. Because I've built that knowledge up. And you can do the same thing if you break that mindset that she was just talking about of, I'm just going to follow whatever the plan is. Because what happens when you don't have the plan? What happens when you don't have the equipment? You are now tied to your lack of knowledge because you haven't invested in your own progress. Okay? Knowledge-wise. Okay,
Yeah,
participation is part of it, but if you're not learning anything from participating, you're not increasing your own freedom.
That part. So there's nothing wrong with following a program, especially if you don't. This is advanced to be able to go in and not have a plan ever and just go in every day and totally make it up on the fly. I don't usually do that. I don't like to do that. But I now write my own programs. I share them with my ladies in my academy. And the cool thing is I put all these alternate exercises in there. And the goal that I have for my ladies in the academy is, okay, they have a program, but they're thinking critically about the program. I want them to master the movements. And to master a movement, you have to understand the mechanics of the movement. What muscles am I engaging? Where am I supposed to be feeling this? What is the
Purpose, the goal?
What is the mechanism, or what is the angle, or what is the, all of the intricacies of the movement. So we share in-depth, long-form content videos to explain the movement so that my ladies can watch that on their own when they're not in the gym. These are not the quick demo videos that are in the program that you pull up while you're doing your workout just to remember what the exercise looks like. But more in-depth stuff. So the day before you go in to do that leg day, you can pull it up and say, okay, I've got Bulgarian split squats today. How is that executed? How am I supposed to do that correctly? And then, what are all the cues? And then, how about this? What if I can't do that movement because it's too advanced for me? Or I have a limitation. Well, if I understand the movement, if I understand the modifications, how do I regress it? How do I progress it? This doesn't feel challenging enough. How do I progress it? These are the kinds of things where even if you're working within a program, you have a coach, you can ask your coach. And if you don't understand those things, you can learn.
Yeah, and the progression of your experience in a program. Like you said, programs, I'm not knocking programs. It's a great place to start to learn. It's a framework. It's a structure that you can develop your own understanding within while progressing at the same time as you follow it, right? There's, I have a lot of clients who have been in a program for 2, 3, 4 years, and they're asking the same questions because they haven't taken the ownership of the process to learn what they're doing. They're just following.
That's it right there.
And that's what we're talking about.
You don't want to get a program and just go through the motions.
You have to understand and ask the questions. What is this exercise supposed to do? Why am I doing 3 reps instead of 20 reps? What's the difference? How is it supposed to feel? What is it doing to my body? When I have a workout program for 3 weeks, I'm doing heavy and I'm only doing 3 to 5 reps per set. How do I feel differently? And how do I recover differently than when I'm doing a program that is 15, 20, 25 reps per set and what I'm getting out of that? So there's different impact. There's different things you're shooting for. So asking the questions, why am I doing it? The why matters, guys.
Asking to understand.
Asking to understand, not because you don't want to think for yourself. Okay, there's a difference. Now, what is the movement for? I like how you said, right? It's the understanding of the technique. It's understanding where you're supposed to feel it. It's understanding what am I supposed to get out of this. And then there's really 2, like you talked about 2 different things, right? There's the, what if I don't have the equipment, I don't have access to it, whatever. And then there's the, what if I have to scale it down or scale it up because it's either too hard for me right now or it's not hard enough, right? So, I mean, either one of those, we could probably talk for 2 hours just on each one.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it starts with, I think the first thing is, what is, but maybe not the first thing, the three things that we could probably look at. What is the movement pattern? Understanding what is the movement pattern that we're trying to use. What is the muscle activation? And then what is the kind of intensity you're trying to apply?
Yes. Okay.
Those are the three
Yep.
things I think we can probably break it into.
Yeah.
So the first thing is understanding the movement pattern. What am I doing? If I'm doing a Bulgarian split squat, like you said, or just a split squat, right? What is that for? Okay. If I'm doing a deadlift or a squat or a bench press, what is that for? What is the angles? What am I trying to do? What's the proper way to execute this without hurting myself? Understanding what those things are allows you to get to the next step of saying, well, if my angle is not, so when I'm doing push-ups, if I don't want my arms straight out, I want my arms down a little bit. How does that feel? What does it feel like? Oh, my shoulders don't pinch as much. I feel it a little bit more in my triceps when I bring my arms down some, right? It's not as much pressure in my front delts. I don't feel like I'm twisting my shoulders. I'm feeling it in my chest differently. So the mind-body connection, practicing. When we talk about technique, here's one of the biggest things that we question sometimes is when we get movement videos. Send your movement videos. I can't even, if you have a coach who is open to and was willing to
That
respond
is the most valuable
to movement videos and has a process for you to submit movement videos, send the movement
Do not
videos to
waste that
get the
resource,
feedback.
y'all. That is huge.
Especially if it's part of your program.
I mean, that's the kind of thing that would cost you $100 an hour to work with a trainer in person to do. And
Yeah.
you're getting it for free with your coaching online.
Yeah.
Use it.
Yeah.
Get over yourself. Get over the difficulty of filming. The where do I set up the camera? Get all
It
that
doesn't
out
matter.
of your system.
Yeah.
Get over the how you look on camera. It's more important that you are executing the movement properly.
That's the biggest, for me as a coach, the biggest frustration. I want to help my people. I want to help my clients and the people that I work with. And I can't help you if I can't see what you're doing. Unfortunately, the world is virtual. Unfortunately, I can't have you all come to my gym and work out with me where I can give you that kind of individualized feedback.
Yeah.
Send me your
It
videos.
is not worth
right?
months and years training in the wrong pattern. What you're going to do is end up injuring yourself.
Yes. Yes. So that's the first thing.
Really important. Ask the questions too. Like there's no
Yeah.
dumb question. Ask any question you have about the movement. When clients are not asking questions, that's when I know either A, they're not doing it,
Or they're,
or B, they're just kind of phoning it in
yeah. Yeah.
and probably doing it improperly.
Yes.
Because if you're doing it properly and you're actually thinking about it, you're going to have questions. You should have questions. You're not going to go through an entire training program and not have any questions.
Yeah.
My advanced people actually are the ones that are doing the most form checks. They're asking the most questions. They ask more questions than the beginners,
Right.
which tells, I mean, that should tell you something. The advanced people don't think they know it all. And the reason they're advanced is probably because they've been asking questions.
Yes.
And they've been getting feedback and they've been getting better. You don't improve without doing that.
Right. If you have a coach and you have a program that you're paying for to get support that includes how do I do these movements?
Don't ever assume
Ask the questions.
anything. We know what happens when you assume.
What happens when you assume?
You know.
I do?
Yes.
What is it?
Tell them.
I don't know. What happens when you assume?
You know.
I don't know. What do you mean? Okay, I know. Do you guys know? Let us know if you know.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. So that's the one thing, technique, understanding that kind of stuff. Second piece we talk about is the muscle activation, the mind-body connection, feeling it where you're supposed to feel it. I'll let you talk about that.
This one, because
that's one of her
bodybuilding,
favorite.
that's
one of her favorites.
what bodybuilding is all about. If it's all about what muscles are we working, because we are trying to build muscle and aesthetics. So particular muscles in particular parts of the body on particular days.
Sorry, I got grinds.
This is something that separates bodybuilding from functional fitness,
A little bit.
powerlifting.
No. The difference is, okay, not the mind-body connection. How we achieve it is different.
Muscle activation is
Muscle activation, how we achieve it. So it's all the same, but there's a difference. And what you used as an example the other day, right, is a good example. Doing, like I do split squats with 2 dumbbells, right? I've gone through the process of understanding what muscles I need to activate, where I'm supposed to feel it, and I can get good work through doing that. The amount of individualized focus, and that's where I think the difference is. With functional fitness, it's muscle activation, it's just more muscles at the same time, and it's coordination included.
Yeah, so
with bodybuilding, it's more about the specific individual, like what is this one piece that I'm trying to activate at the same time.
a particular muscle to make that muscle grow.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. It's very different. And in powerlifting, it's different because you could be, your goal is what makes it different.
Correct.
With functional, with powerlifting, with bodybuilding,
Bingo.
they're all different.
Bingo.
Your goal what is your goal with the movement? With bodybuilding, if we're doing lunges, if we're doing squats, our goal is different than it would be with functional fitness. Let's give them an example. In bodybuilding, the pure goal of any exercise is activating a particular muscle or muscle group for growth in that area. For powerlifting,
strength development.
It's usually strength development or skill development in that particular lift.
Right.
Which is going to, most of those powerlifting lifts are compound movements, so you're actually engaging multiple muscle groups, and it's about the skill of the lift. For functional fitness, you have multiple goals.
Yeah, but just thinking from a muscle perspective.
Give them an example.
Well, here's a great example. Squats. Let's just talk about lower body and how the differences are.
Well, just say the goals, because I just listed the other goals so they could see it.
Well, functional fitness is the same, but there's an added level of
coordination, balance, speed, agility. Like you have all these other goals with your movements and not just
And how do we explain the practical difference? So here's why when we talk about let's work on lower body, okay? As a functional fitness person, I'm going to include more lunges, front squats, back squats, and things like that in my program because I'm trying to get a range of things within the squat movement. The squat, just the basic movement pattern of squatting, okay? As a power lifter, I'm probably mostly going to focus on heavy squats. That's going to be my primary main lift. I might do a front squat set here and there. I might do a leg press here and there. I might do some lunges here and there. But I'm going to be focusing on getting better at the skill of squatting. And how do you get better at a skill? You practice the skill. So if I'm trying to develop my squat and get as strong as possible, then I'm mostly going to squat. From a bodybuilder's perspective, they might not squat as much, but you're going to leg press more. You're going to belt squat more because it's the squat movement, but it's loaded heavier and it doesn't fatigue the upper back and the torso.
And right. So we have decisions about how we do things.
The applications are different because the goals are different.
And we might incorporate front squats if it's a quad focused workout. So we're thinking about what muscle group am I working?
Yes.
And you can see that in the programming too, because functional fitness might have a workout of the day that's going to incorporate a bunch of different things. Powerlifting is going to have a movement-based workout. So you're going to have a bench press focus day, a squat focus day. bodybuilding is it's chest day, it's
Right.
leg day.
That's where the whole bro
quad
split concept
day,
came from, right?
So it's purely we're designing based on what body parts we're trying to muscles we're trying to engage.
Right.
And here's a perfect example. Right now in my program, I'm doing a lot of the same movement, but for different body parts supersetted. So, for example, we're talking about split squats. In my program right now, we have glute focused split squat with a quad focused split squat, so that my ladies can really understand the difference in when you're working that for one muscle versus the other. He would just do split squats and engage all of those muscles because it's more about the skill,
This is one of the reasons. It's just
the balance. That was another thing we talked about yesterday, the balance, right? You might do split squats with 2 dumbbells, not holding on, and not particularly focused on quad or glute. You're going to get both.
Right. And because I'm freestanding, I'm also getting more core and shoulder. I'm doing a bunch of other things
balance,
too, right? So I'm focusing
I might want to hold on with one hand for more stability, hold a dumbbell in the other hand, just one dumbbell, and then focus on it as a quad-based movement or a glute-based movement so that I can load as much as possible, meaning heavier weight, while focusing on that muscle so I can isolate the muscle as much as possible. Yeah. Same movement, different goals, different execution.
This is one of the reasons, and this is hard for me as a coach when I have to remind myself of this all the time. When you see people doing all these different things in the gym,
don't judge.
Don't judge.
You don't know.
You have no idea what they're doing.
It's a really good
What their focus is on, and that also is be careful what you're copying. Okay?
This gets into the topic from the other day.
Because you don't know what they're doing, why they're doing it, what their goal is, what they're trying to accomplish. If you're following a program, follow that program and learn within that framework.
If you have a coach,
ask that
coach,
work with your coach to talk about options and adaptions and all of those other different things. Don't just go out there on the internet and be like, "Ooh, this looks good. I'm going to throw this in too." You don't know what they're doing. Just like when we talk about nutrition, what is the context? Where are they coming from? What are they talking about? And does it apply to you?
Yes.
Okay. So don't judge what you see because you don't know what anybody's doing, where they're coming from, what their experience is, or why they're doing that movement.
And don't worry about, in the same vein, there's so much worry about what other people are going to think about what you're doing. Let them think whatever they think.
Yeah.
You have a different program than they do. You have different goals. You have a different focus. So focus on, stay in your lane, focus on what you're doing. Let them focus on what they're doing.
I see it all the time. I've gotten to the point at the gym now where I see someone doing something that was like, why are they doing that? I want to go up and ask them and be like, hey, I know you're in the middle of your workout, but I'm just curious, where is this stance from? Or why are you only doing this? Or what is this position? Because I'm honestly curious. Now, I don't do that and I wouldn't do that, but it's hard sometimes because I'm like, over here trying to analyze across the room. What could they possibly be doing that for?
Sometimes you see what somebody's doing, and you're curious.
And you're trying to figure it out. But so that's the two things: technique, understanding the impact, the muscle activation, what we're doing for, and then when we talk about what you call regression or progression, I call scaling, which that word can be up or down. When we talk about making something harder or making something easier, there's 3 main things that come into play that you need to think about. One is you can make it harder or easier by changing the complexity of the movement, by changing the speed of the movement,
thumbs up,
or by changing the weight that you're moving. Those are the 3 main ways that you can make something harder or easier. So, an example. And this can be if you're looking at, I don't have equipment, or I want to make this harder because it's not challenging, or make it easier because it's too challenging. So if you're looking at the complexity of the movement, we're talking about the technique or the movement pattern that you're working in. If you don't have a leg curl machine at your gym, okay?
At your gym and somebody's always on it.
Okay, then how do you replace that machine with something else, right? There's a couple different ways that you could probably do that. The question you have to ask yourself is, what is the movement? Right? The movement is I'm trying to work my hamstring by pulling my heel into my butt. How can I duplicate that? Right? There's a couple of different ways. You can
There's
get
a lot of different ways.
You can get a resistance band, attach it to a thing, sit on a bench, put it on your heel, and pull the band towards you. Right? You can
My favorite stability ball.
You can do a stability ball curl.
Put your ankle or put your heel on the stability ball and pull it toward your
Pull it towards
butt.
you. You can do that with a TRX. Put your heel in a TRX. It's a suspension trainer. Lay on your back and pull your heels to you.
You can do glute ham raises.
Glute ham raises, Nordic curls, right? There's a lot of things. How can I activate my hamstring if I don't have this machine? So that's the question. So what is the movement I'm looking at doing? Now, let's say you have a hamstring machine and we talk about how can I make this more challenging? Well, I can do more reps. I can do more weight. I can move it a little bit slower to really fatigue every single rep.
The negatives, which is one of my favorite. The
Negatives
part of the
focus
movement.
on letting, when I release that weight,
Release it
slowing
slowly
it,
under control.
advancing the movement. This is where we talk about a kind of movement pattern as well, but the complexity aspect. If you're constantly just doing hamstring curls on the machine, maybe you start learning how to do Nordic curls or back extend or hip extends. Get on a GHD or get on a 45-degree hip extension machine, load yourself up to do some of those. That will feel very different in the hamstrings.
Probably pull a muscle the first time.
Right? That will feel very different because it's the same movement pattern idea. It's focusing on the hamstrings, okay? But instead of accessing it from the knee flexion, you're accessing it from the hip flexion. So you're focusing on the muscle a different way.
And your own body weight is being added. So now the load is automatically probably a lot heavier than what you would have done on the machine.
So evaluating what is the movement pattern. If you can't replicate the movement pattern, okay, what is the muscle? What's another way I can attack the muscle, right? And every muscle has two joints. Right? It's attached in one area on one side, and another area on the other side. So maybe there's a way that you can look at different movement options to get the same muscle effect.
Yeah, you could even do deadlifts for hamstrings.
Exactly.
Certain types of deadlifts that really target the hamstring.
Yeah. So what are some things, I mean, we could probably sit here for hours and talk about, if you don't have this, try this. If you don't have this, try this. And we're not going to give you all those answers.
Which is that's the whole point.
We want you to think of those, but we could maybe kind of a little bit of a primer. We were listening to an audiobook yesterday, and
he said
they
it's
said
a primer.
So what are some other ones?
Oh my gosh!
I mean, simple ones like bench press, do push-ups. You could do you could do dips. You can
and for the lats, instead of pull-ups or chin-ups, you can do the cable pull-downs.
Cable pull-downs. You might have a machine.
You can do band
pull-downs
if you don't have a cable.
Yeah.
You can add a band to make the pull-ups assisted.
Mm-hmm.
There are 3 different grips that you can do, maybe even more, depending on what you have available.
Yeah.
You know, wide grip, you've got close grip, you've got neutral grip, you've got chin-up, underhand grip. So there's a lot you can do to target different parts of the back. You can do push-ups that focus more on the lats, and you can do push-ups that focus more on the chest.
And the triceps. More tricep, less tricep. So this is where I like to say, I mean, we could probably just sit here and just list all kinds of stuff.
So many things.
Different stances on your squats, different placements of your feet on the leg press.
You got leg extension, and then all of the different options that you could, like we talked about with hamstring curls. Leg extension, same thing. There's a lot of things you can do that if you can't get the leg extension machine or you don't have one, you could do body weight. I love the body weight. Sissy squats are my go-to. Usually you can do single leg squats or pistol squat progressions. You can do, what was the other one I was about to mention? I started putting this in my program. It's we call them hinges in dance classes, where you're sitting on the lower part of your leg with your knees bent and you're hinging backwards. So you're you're getting some stretch in your quads, and then your quads have to pull you back. It's like the opposite of the GHD.
Right. Okay.
So there's all kinds of things you can do.
Being willing to learn. How do you apply that? Play.
Oh my gosh, in the gym, if you haven't gone around to all the machines in the gym, take a day.
Oh my God, that's a great idea.
Take a day and just, you don't even have a particular workout you're doing. You don't even have to do a bunch of reps or sets.
Just go try that. Just go try machines. Go try every machine in your gym.
Decide for yourself that I don't care what anybody thinks and I don't care what I look like. I'm going to go look at the instructions on the machine. I'm going to read them. I'm going to understand how the machine works. And if there are not instructions, I'm going to pull up the name of the machine on YouTube, because nowadays there is no excuse. There are demo videos for absolutely everything on YouTube. There's nothing
you can't find it in her app, if you're a client with her or in her groups, or you can't find it on my YouTube channel. Guys, I've got 300 plus exercise videos on my YouTube channel. So it's likely I have something. I don't have everything, obviously, because there's so many different variations of things, but I got a lot of stuff that you can look at.
And when you're on YouTube, FYI, for those that don't know, when you're on the YouTube on your computer, if you go to a channel, like Coach Bronson's channel, there's a search bar that will allow you to search just within his channel.
Yeah.
So if there's an exercise you want to find, you can go to his channel and
it's a little
search
magnifying
it
glass,
right there.
little magnifying glass on the title area.
Yeah.
So, playtime, I love it. I think of the gym really as playtime right now. I go in and I'm like, let's try this, let's try that, see how this feels, you know? And for me, I don't know if anybody else is like this, I actually have a hard time following a specific program for a long period of time.
He does.
I don't know what it
Few
is.
weeks and he's over it.
I think the longest I've ever lasted following a specific program is maybe 6 weeks.
Wow.
Outside of when I owned the gym, when I was owned the gym, it was, and honestly, even then, there'd be a lot of times where I'd program for the month or the year, right? I'd get the whole year's program in, and I'd follow it, and then be like, I'm gonna come in and just do something different. I have something in my brain that doesn't. I just don't do that. I like to go in and just see how I'm feeling. What am I in the mood for today? And and move. It's more about consistency for me.
And for me, it's the exact opposite. Yeah. I like at least 6 weeks on a program. I want to focus on the same movements and progress and improve in those movements. I like having something to follow, but because I've always worked out in commercial gyms, I've always switched up equipment. So I might be doing the exact same movements for 6 to 8 to 10 to 12 weeks, but it doesn't get boring for me because I'm going to use dumbbells this week or cables next week or a machine when I feel like it or when I can't get the equipment that I need. There's always a reason why I'm switching it up, but it's the same. I'm activating the muscles in the same way, and I'm working toward a goal within that program. So that's the way I like to do it.
You just brought up a good point because we had this conversation yesterday. Just because it's in the program you're following doesn't mean you can't make adjustments if that's not available. Okay?
Right.
The idea of, well, this is what's in the program, I can't do anything else, that is not a mindset that's going to help you be successful. Okay? Programs.
Why is it in the program? Ask why it's in the program so you understand the purpose, what you're trying to accomplish.
It would be better. It would be better for you in every single case to modify or adapt your exercise that day if you don't have that equipment, than to just not do it because that machine was there, but that's what's in your program and you didn't have anything else to do.
Yep. And here's a great example of that. So I've got leg extensions and hamstring curls in both of our leg days right now. And in our gym, it is nearly impossible to ever get those machines unless you want to be standing around waiting. And
that's what I have to do today too.
The first 2 or 3 times I needed those machines, I used alternate exercises. And then yesterday I was like, you know what? I want to use the damn machine because I put drop sets in this program. It's a very advanced technique. And when you're alternating those particular exercises, you really can't do drop sets when you're using body weight. It's
Right.
like, it ain't gonna happen. You need weights that you can manipulate for drop sets. So in the program, I said, don't try to do the drop sets when you're doing the alternate exercises. So I couldn't do the drop sets the first few times, and I really wanted to do the drop sets yesterday. So I just swapped around the order of the exercises. And usually in a program, the order of exercises is there for a reason. So ideally you're doing it in the order that it's listed, but that's another variable that you could switch up if you needed to.
Adapt.
And I was like, damn it, I want to use those machines today. So I'm going to go do my core exercises, which are usually at the very end of the program, while I'm waiting for the machine. Because we were there in the middle of the day, and I was like, the machine's going to become available today. It's not like I'm there at 5 o'clock on a weeknight.
When it's packed.
When everybody's waiting for the machines and I'm never going to get them. So I was like, I want to do these drop sets. I'm just going to go do my abs first. So I did the abs first. I came back to the machine, and they were available.
Yeah.
And I was able to do it. So, you can switch things up. You can switch up the order if you need to. A big question in my group this week was, what if I can't do these as a superset because I'm going to lose the machine? And that always happens to me at the gym too. So absolutely, I said, you can separate them and you can do them as individual exercises. You don't have to do them in a superset. It's going to take you longer, so just be prepared for that. But also you can look at the alternate exercises that we have in the program. And let's say I have a dumbbell exercise paired with a cable exercise. You can either bring the dumbbells over to the cable, so you can keep that cable and not lose the cable machine. And you can do your supersets right there. Or you can do them separately. Or you could say, hey, is there an alternate that's also dumbbells? Or is there an alternate that's also cables? So I can stay on the cable the whole time. Or I can stay with the dumbbell the whole time. So think outside the box. Understand the purpose of the movement, what muscles are being activated, all the things we talked about, so that you know how to alternate things, and then play and try and don't be afraid.
You know, I just realized
What?
we're talking about principles over protocols,
We are.
right?
How
What
to
are
apply to
the
your
principles?
context,
What are the
always.
principles behind your program? What is it trying to do? And the specifics of the workout that you're given are just a guide to help you reach the goal of the program. So that doesn't mean it's the only way to reach the goal of the program. Okay? Within that framework, what is it trying to do for this workout, particularly for this exercise? If you can meet that goal a different way, then meet the goal a different way.
Oh, here's a big one.
That's really what we're talking about.
This could be a whole different topic, but if you have bad knees, don't skip lunges. Ask your coach, how can I modify this so that I can do this without knee pain? Because there's a way to do it. There's a million ways to do it. And there's a reason why lunges are still in your program. If I had $1 for every client who said, I can't do lunges because of my bad knees,
Well,
so
I'll
let's
tell you,
do something else.
That specifically, I'm thinking back to all the clients I've had over the past 12 years. I can't think of a single client that I've had situation where somebody had knee problems that was worse, was made worse by doing lunges.
They're always made better.
Every experience that I've had with somebody with bad knees, doing lunges has made the knee pain less.
Yep, 100%.
Yes.
Because they need to strengthen the muscles that are supporting the knee.
Yeah.
And you can't do that when you're avoiding movements that create knee flexion.
Well, let's talk about that specifically. There's two reasons why that is, guys. Strength in the leg. The more strength you have, the less pressure on the knee and tendons in the knees and kneecap and all that, the less is going to have an issue there. Number two, learning how to move properly while you're training your legs is going to improve the pattern of how you move your knee and your legs to take some of that additional stress off as well.
Yes.
Right? Because it's not just the knee, it's not just the leg strength, how it affects your knee. It's the leg strength and how it affects your ankle and your hips and the movement in and out and up and down, all of those different things. So the action of training your knees, your legs, and the growth of muscle combines to relieve a lot of that stress that your knees are taking. So that's a great tip, I think.
That's the one I feel like I want to bring that up every day because it's the question I get asked the most, or it's not even a question. It's usually a limiting.
I can't do lunges because my knees hurt.
Yep.
Well, again, every reason not to is actually a reason to.
The thing you're avoiding is the thing you need most.
Yes. So the question should be, how do I do lunges when my knee hurts? That's the question.
Yep.
And then we have answers for that.
Yes.
Okay. Hope that was helpful, guys. We were kind of little all over the place, but I feel like we hit all the topics we wanted to hit.
Basically, you know what happened to us at Five Guys the other day?
At Five Guys.
Do you remember? The cashier?
Yeah.
She asked, you
what do
guys
you
work
guys
out,
do?
don't you? What do you do? And we said, we lift weights. And she said, I'm afraid of that. I just do Pilates. And I
Which
said,
is
girl,
great.
pick up the weights.
That's
pick
great
up the
too.
weights.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm scared. The biggest thing you can do is find evidence that you're capable.
Oh, you want to go there? We're at 40. We're at 50 minutes already.
We started out with that. We
We're
talked
at
about that.
50 minutes. We're going to be here for another 30.
No, we're not, because we talked about it at the beginning. I'm just bringing it back full circle.
But I really want to get into that one too.
We could talk about it next week.
Okay. We'll talk about next week. The more you play at the gym and the more you learn about how you can adapt things to fit your need, the more confidence you will have in the gym and the more free you will feel to grow and expand what you're able to do.
Feel the fear and do it anyway.
That's where the evidence comes in.
Yep.
Feel the fear. Ooh. Now I want to talk about it.
We gotta go eat breakfast. It's getting late.
Is that what you're calling it now? See you guys.
On that note.